right. How y'all doing tonight? That sounds a little bit better than last time. How y'all doing tonight? All right. No, well, thank you so much for coming today to the 9th annual African American Film Series. I'm being directed, as always, when I'm on the stage. Perfect. All right. I need to stand here. All right. But thank you so much for coming to the 9th annual African American Film Series. We're glad to see you here. For whatever reason, people forget it snows in Michigan and how to drive in it. As we can tell, because I had some people like, I'm not getting out today. I just want to let you know I really wanted to be there, but it snowed. And I said, this is like the first snow of the year. Then I was called a crotchety old man in our team meeting yesterday because some kids got off school the other day, and it's like the snow didn't even cover the grass. And I remember I had to go out there, and my boots was up here, my snow suit, just walking all slow, to get to school. I'm not that old, but I do have memories of walking to school or walking to the bus and standing out there when it's chilling and my nose running. Everybody had those experiences, right? But it's awesome. It was just, and they said, man, you sound like an old man when they say, well, you remember back in 1972 when we used to. So I thought that was kind of funny, but we're going to get over it. I'm going to get over it. But first, let me thank our sponsors tonight who made this event possible. So I want to make sure I just talk about them real quick. But partnering with the Flint Institute of Arts, Genesee Health Systems, Michigan Now, Nartel Family Foundation, VAAA Community Foundation, Alpha Phi Alpha, Lurby Construction, HAP, Glenn Destins Wilson, Lynn Horan, Gary and Carol Horan, D. Kramer, Bob and Marsha Wesley, Ira Rutherford, Sarah Foundation, Kyle and Camille Coger, National Pan-Atlantic Council, Complete Eye Care, Sigma Pi Phi Fraternity, Hurley Medical Center, Tiffany Hughes, Mass Transportation Authority, and the Links. Can you give all our sponsors a hand clap? Because we could not put this on for free. Did everybody enjoy the food? All right. Everybody enjoy the music? All right. And now we're about to get to a wonderful film. I'm always excited about the films that we have, and those also who participate in the committee, our volunteers, and our team members that help us with this. I forgot, but don't let me forget to give our team members and the volunteers a hand clap as well for the work that they do. At the end of tonight's movie, we will have a brief talk by Charlie Dobson, owner of We Swim Aquatics. She is an advocate that swimming is for everyone. Our prizes tonight are really good as well, and you must be present to win. I actually had a couple people call me after the last movie, like, I heard you call my name. What prize? You ain't here, you're going to lose. So we'll do that right after the movie, so you have to be here present to win. And then we're also giving away swimming lessons for adults or children and tickets to community gala. So, like I said, you have to be present to win. As a part of our series, we're always endeavored to introduce you to new films, explore content that is in the interest of our community to ensure that everyone is informed. You may have noticed that we have health screening and cancer screening information on the tables when you came in today, but also when you leave. And we are partnered with Exact Sciences to bring you content about these particular topics in our community. Please be sure to take a copy for your age group and share them with others, and people that you care. If you have questions or want to know more, please reach out to us. So please enjoy tonight's film. I hope to see you at the next one. I think the last one is called Hush, that we'll have in February, which is talking more about mental health. So we'll make sure we have a great kickoff to the event. But thank you so much for coming. Sit back, relax, do not go to sleep, and enjoy the film.
All right, so I know that was a little heavy, so I appreciate you being with us tonight to hear this very powerful story. When we think about the tragedy of what happened to the families that were in the film, we have an opportunity. You saw the website, Drowning in Silence, and these are the kinds of stories that can be empowering, that can give us the opportunity to do something different. And we've shown a variety of films through our film series. Some have been fun and funny, some have been a little bit heavier, and this happens to be one of the ones that, is a little bit weightier. I heard sniffles, I know that there were tears, and we really want that to be purposeful and to give you the opportunity to learn more so that we can do something about this. This isn't something that we talk about in our community, but it's a reality. And I think about, the times that we've had our daughter out, on a boat and, or been out on the water or gone to the beach. And it really is easy. I heard one of the parents talk about they had the life jacket. It was right there in their hand. And the kids, everybody was having fun. Everything seemed fine. And they just kind of put it down and continued on. And a tragedy happened, which is unfortunate. But we realize that none of us is exempt. And it's easy for something like that to happen. But we are so privileged to have with us Charlie Dobson. Does anybody know Charlie? What? Oh my goodness, I can't believe that you don't know her. Well, you're about to know a little bit about her. She is a Flint native and a local business owner. She grew up in Flint and attended Flint Southwestern Academy. Anybody go to Southwestern? Okay, we got a couple of Southwestern folks, okay. But if I said Northern, where I went, okay, thank you, appreciate the love. And then she went on to graduate from Michigan State University with a BA in psychology. And she also has an MBA in accounting from the University of Phoenix. She is the owner of Charlie B Enterprises, and that's the umbrella that houses several businesses. One being the Braiding Hands, which is and she's a natural hairstylist, so she always looks fabulous. She also owns We Swim Aquatics, which is a swim school that offers students as young as 6 months old, adults and beginners, going all the way through to competitive swimmers lessons. Swim Smart is a curriculum that she created to teach others how to teach swim lessons. Beauty Defined is a women's organization created to be a safe place for women to grow in their faith and personal development. She's also the president of the Dobson Community Foundation, which has done several events in the community, giving away scholarships, and has held a rose ceremony, which is a community event for women. She's a writer and soon to be author, had an article published in Christianity Today. And outside of her business and community endeavors, she also does event planning, decorating, and designing. So she is busy. So that's why I said, if you don't know her, I'm sure that in one of those buckets of business, you might find yourself, if you need your hair done, if you want to learn how to swim, she does all of the things. And so, Charlie, you've been a swimmer for quite some time. And I've always wondered how you transition from just being a swimmer. You swim competitively, if I'm not mistaken, okay, and how you transition from that into a business. So what's your journey with swimming?
Hi, everybody. My name is Charlie Dobson, and as Essen said, I am the owner of We Swim Aquatics. My swim journey started when I was 3 years old. My mom put me in swim lessons because when she learned how to swim in college, she had a traumatic experience. So she had made a promise to herself during that time that when she had kids, she would put her kids in swimming, my brother and I. And so from the time I was 3 until 18, I was in swimming all year round. I started swimming competitively when I was 9. And I started teaching swimming when I was 13. My swim instructor at the time pulled me to the side and had me start teaching it with her. So from the time I was 13 till 18, graduating from high school, I was teaching swim lessons. And then while I was at MSU, I ran track for MSU, but I would use swimming for cross training. And so anytime someone found out that I could swim, by default, they would ask me to teach them how to swim. And so that's how I was able to make, just money on the side while I was in college. And then 2017, I got back into swimming for myself for cross training. I still run track. And at that time, when I would be in practice, I would just have visions of me teaching like all these little kids around me in the water. And so it was one of those things like, Lord, are you showing me something? Like, are you showing me that I'm about to go back into teaching? And if so, can you just give me a sign of confirmation? Well, a couple months after that, After praying that, there was a coach here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Linnell McKinney. So she was a family friend of ours who knew that we swam growing up. My brother and I swam growing up, and at that time she had started a youth program. And so she asked, could I come in and teach her kids how to swim? Well, all that she wanted me to do, it was just pretty much like creating this entire program. So I told her, like, well, it's kind of been on my heart to start back swimming. So if I start this business, if I start a swim program for myself, would you be willing to partner with me? So she was the first person that was willing to partner with me with my swim program. And then after that, at the pool that I was doing my cross training in, I had submitted an application into the gym just to do administration. Well, the aquatics director, she saw my application, and she, knowing that I was coming in for swim practices and swim workouts, she asked me, did I have experience teaching, because she was in need of swim instructors. So I told her my history was with teaching, like swim instructions and swim education. And so she pretty much just hired me on the spot. And it was from there, I was teaching for the club. Well, one of the things they allow the instructors to do was to have private lessons. Well, pre-COVID, this is pre-COVID, I would do private lessons, but my private lesson list got to the point where I had to create a waiting list, because I would constantly get referrals. One reason being because I was a Black swim instructor. And so a lot of the families that were interested, they wanted to find an instructor for their child that looked like their child. And so pre-COVID, that was the case. Like, I had this waiting list. So when after COVID, when everything opened up, I told the aquatics director, well, I have this long list of people who are interested in swimming, but I just don't have it in my schedule to do all these people. So could I start my own swim program? And so she, by the grace of God, she just allowed me to start my swim school within the aquatics at Genesis. And so from there, I was able to, everyone that was on the waiting list at the time, they were able to enroll into my swim school. And so after that, I was able, in the process of doing the swim school, I kept I had another waiting list. And so I ended up trying to reach out to Kettering. And at that time, they told me no. I knew it was a race issue. I was a young black girl. I look a lot younger than what I am. I'm 33, but I don't sound it. I really don't look it without like being all dressed up or anything. And it wasn't until I did a presentation for a scholarship that a person from Kettering saw, and she went back to Kettering and spoke to them on my behalf. Like, I think she, just sharing them what my first attempt to go back to them and talk to them. And so with her help, like, she helped me to start my program at Kettering. So now I have 2 locations where I do swim lessons at, both where I teach students as young as 6 months to adults, from novice swimmers to competitive swimmers. And that's my story. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, and that just goes to show that it started with your mom and having that desire to make sure that her kids knew how to swim, and it's turned into a very viable business for you with a waiting list. And, our 5-year-old has taken lessons with Miss Charlie, and the first 2 lessons, she cried her eyes out, and I was going to pull her out of the class. I couldn't take it. I'm sitting on the side, and she's like, she'll be okay. She'll be okay. And now she's like a little fish, and she loves the water. And the best or worst thing that ever happened was the Little Mermaid. Because sometimes she has the wiggles and pretends that she has a mermaid tail. So those classes aren't as productive. But just to see that transition over, just a few sessions, to go from, crying and wanting to try but not liking the experience, to being confident And we're not concerned about her in the water. Obviously, we're going to still be, parents and watchful and all of that. But she can float. She can swim on her back. She can swim on, on her front. And it's just a powerful thing to have that skill in your tool belt. So, can you tell us about maybe one other success story with one of your students?
Oh gosh, there's so many
Pick
little.
one.
So I'll use Katie as an example because her story is very similar to a lot of stories where they start off with tears of fear, and by the end of their swim lessons, they have tears of joy, or their tears of crying because they don't want to get out the water. And I say that because, she shared the first two lessons. Katie was holding on to my neck for dear life. Like, don't put me underwater. I'm not blowing bubbles. I'm not doing nothing. I'm having a panic attack. And as an instructor, one of the things I try to do is teach children and even adults how to have a healthy relationship with the water. And one aspect of having a healthy relationship with the water is developing their self-awareness in it. So how are you feeling in this moment when you're putting yourself in the water? So I'm constantly asking the kids questions, or even my students questions, like, what does it feel like when you put your face in? What does it feel like when you're blowing bubbles? So that they can be able to develop their own self-confidence and their skills as they are learning. And that tends to be a common story.
And I would assume that that's probably true for children and adults. Adults are not exempt from, having a bit of fear or anxiety when it comes to the water. So the majority of the students that you have happen to be African American. And thinking about the name of your school, We Swim Aquatics, what does that mean to you, and why is it important for that to have that representation?
So the name We Swim Aquatics, and my slogan is where swimming is for everyone, is based off my testimony. When I was in swim lessons, I was amongst it was predominantly Black kids and Black families that I was around. And it wasn't until I was swimming competitively that I found out that was no longer the case. I was more so the outlier in a predominantly white sport. And as my skills developed and as I was continuing to get faster, I noticed that I no longer felt welcome. And so the slogan, where swimming is for everyone, is based off my testimony of just knowing that I really belonged in the water. I shared earlier that I ran track in college, but I was a water baby. From the time I learned how to swim till it was time for me to go to college, like, I would stay in the water all day. Like, I was the kid that was at the deep end, working on trying to hold my breath as long as I could, stressing my mom out, stressing my teacher out. But had I felt welcome, I would have probably swam in college because I loved being in the water that much. And I have students that feel the same way as I do. And their mindset is already, I want to swim in college. And it's like, okay, we're going to get you there. Like, you're gonna know that you belong, and even if you come against those experiences, you're not gonna fall back. You're gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep pushing you as long as you're with me as my student. I'm gonna push you, and We Swim I just look at it as a prophetic declaration for the Black community. Like, we swim. Like, this is our norm. Like, the way we're, like, basketball and all the dryland sports, football, track, soccer, are second nature to our ability and a desire to put our kids in. So is swimming. So yes, it is. Like, we swim. Like, this is our norm. It's not going to be a question or that we're going to have to second guess ourselves. Like, yes, we do.
And I remember when I talked with you, and we almost said the same thing, that swimming is not just something for recreation. It's not just for us when we go on vacation to look cute by the pool, in our little two-piece, if we can rock a two-piece. It's not just that, swimming is a life skill. It's something that we should know how to do because we never know when we might need it. It's a skill to have. We should all know first aid. We should all know CPR. We should all know how to swim. And when we look at those statistics, some of them were shared in the film, that there are 3,960 fatal drownings every year, that 88% of drownings occur with at least one adult present, and that 67% of Black children have little to no swimming ability. And those are things that we can make an impact on and things that we can change. And I'm grateful that this short story was shared and that they're taking that tragedy and turning it into something that is advocacy and it's going to save so many more lives. So as we think about what some of the factors are in urban communities that prevent individuals from knowing how to swim, what do you think some of those things might be? I'm hearing the audience. What are some of those things that... No community swimming pools. Very good. I remember being a kid and walking to, I think it was Haskell. I don't know if we were supposed to, but we would go and we would swim or do what we thought was swimming, but we were in the water, right? Yeah. What else? Yeah. And so there was a time when that was much more common. I don't know that is the walk to the YMCA and do lessons. I remember, I think I was in 5th grade and I don't remember where we went, but we did do some sort of water safety and we had to flip a canoe but it just wasn't enough. It still didn't mean I knew how to swim. It maybe meant that I could survive for a little while until help came, but I still wouldn't have necessarily felt like a confident swimmer. So certainly those are some factors, the availability of the community pools. Anything else that you would like to add in terms of factors?
I think two things that tend to come in mind. One is that oftentimes I've had families where the parents don't know how to swim, and so the child is the first generational swimmer. And the problem with that, and they mentioned in the story of the 6 children, which was very unfortunate, where a mother had to watch her children drown, right? Oftentimes, I feel as though parents forget that their ability to swim also serves as a layer of protection for their child. And if you know that there's a statistics that says that 88% of people who go to swim areas and pools and bodies of water actually don't know how to swim. And so that alone you're already putting yourself in danger, you're putting your family in danger. And when I think of that, and tying it into with that first generational child is being mindful that your ability to learn your ability as the parent, as a grandparent, as a aunt or relative is important to that child. Even if they are in swim lessons, they're still developing their skills, but your ability to learn your ability to know how to swim serves as a layer of protection as well. So I could only imagine what the story of the mother of 6 would have looked like if she knew how to swim, if she knew how to just be able to at least get one of the children and just go back and forth, what that story would have been like. Or just even the parent or the mother, just being able to be aware, like, yes, your child is in swim lessons, but the father was in the water too, but he wasn't paying attention to the child on the step. And so being mindful of your child's ability and not becoming too overconfident that they know how to swim just because they're in swim lessons, like they're still learning. And I think that's oftentimes we lose sight of that importance too. But at the same time, when it comes to adults, it's just having that courage to overcome your fear of water as well. Because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to be in that parent's shoes, that grandparent, or as a grandparent or as a parent, to just watch your loved one just pass away because you didn't know what to do.
So there's no shame in being an adult and not knowing how to swim. Charlie has many adult students, and they do lessons, just like the kids do,
They
and
do.
and they learn and they grow and they become much more capable. So as we conclude our time together, I just want to give you the opportunity to share some final remarks. What do you want this audience, those that will watch on social media, what do you want them to know? What do you want them to be thinking about?
I want them to be able to look at swimming as a life skill. I know that with Flint being a sports, I look at Flint as a sports city, a sports community where basketball, football, track are very prevalent. And it's like one of the first things at a very young age parents are putting their children in. Well, with that same level of importance, you should be putting your child in. If you're teaching your child how to ride a bike, if you're getting ready to teach your child how to ride a bike and provide and giving them those type of toys and tools, swimming should be above that because they're going to be around water at some point of their life before they really be able to be on a basketball team and understand the fundamentals of that, understand the fundamentals of track or football or any of those sports. And I think that's where we can begin is just understanding that it's a life skill. You don't have to become a competitive swimmer if that's not what you want to do. But if you're going to be around water, at least you should be able to know how to float on your stomach, on your back, swim on your stomach and back, be able to tread water, be able to blow bubbles, be able to hold your breath, just those basic skills. And if your child doesn't know those basic skills, but don't know those basic skills alone, I strongly recommend that you put your child in lessons before you put a basketball in their hand, before you give them a pair of spikes for track, before you put a football in their hand. That is that important. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you once again, Charlie, for being with us, for sharing your insights. We are going to do our drawing for. Oh, I'm sorry. There was a hand somewhere. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
My name is Gene Navarrete. Do anyone in here remember 55 years ago when we had a community outdoor pool at Burston Field? Yes. That's been a discussion that I was having with my wife for some time now. And I thought that it would really, really be nice and promoting to the community if the renovation, the Burston Field House, that's going to be a $168 million renovation, that they would have that indoor pool.
I said,
Well, we need to promote that suggestion.
I said for myself, I know one of my goals as an aquatic center is to have an aquatic center one day. So last year, one of the things that I did was talk to a realtor, and I was able to get in touch with an architect who specializes in aquatic facilities. And right now, I'm in the stage of trying to find funding for that because I didn't realize conceptual designs cost so much. But that is one of the things I know for myself as an instructor is to try to put. I don't know. I think I'm the type of person where I try to make people give no excuses as to why you can't be successful, and that's one of my ultimate goals because I don't see myself teaching forever. But that doesn't mean that the city of Flint shouldn't have a place to be able to go. I also, one of my goals in that conceptual design is to be able to create a natarium, where it's like the state-of-the-art swim facility where there's competitions. And with that also brings in a stream of income and revenue for the city as well, because swim meets are huge. They are huge. Even when we grew up going to Washington, D.C., it was just an amazing experience, just being able to see other Black people swim. And I think that's something that the city needs. So.
And I would encourage you to share those thoughts with, with Burston about the pool, to see if there might be any opportunities there. We don't have any influence over, their plan. We're not involved in that particular project, but I think, that's an opportunity to lift that up amongst, the community, that we would like to see that, because, we're going to Genesis for lessons, or even to go to Kettering for lessons. We don't really have that as a resource just in the city. That's a community, based pool. So, and thank you for sharing your aspirations and hopes for having an aquatic center. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and we're going to, oh, we have another hand. Okay, go ahead.
So my question for you is, do you have instructors that are like patient with, work with people with different disabilities?
I teach children with autism. Yeah, I have some students in my classes now actually that have autism. You actually wouldn't know, but I have had students who are lower functioning, and their parents and the child's parents still put them in lessons just because they knew their child had a fascination with water. But I could give you my information afterwards if you want. Yeah.
I tried to get an instructor for why. I promise you, since April 2020 all the way until now, still haven't been able to get an instructor for him because he's certified with water now, but he needs to know how to swim.
I could talk to you afterwards.
Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for being willing to connect to help them. And we know this family, and we know the 11-year-old, and so that would be a beautiful thing to be able to make sure that he's able to swim. So thank you for that.
I enjoy the people, meeting people, the music, the entertaining, and then you can come down here to the gallery. You can see everything about the gallery and read up on the history and everything. So it's just the atmosphere, the love, and just meeting people and getting to, just interact and just